And we should be live on Twitch. Hello, and welcome back to Uncanny Adventures. We are playing today Skull and Shackles, which is a Pathfinder adventure path that I am converting to 5th edition because I love the adventure path, but I love 5th edition, so we're going to do both. I'm Jeanette. I'll be the dungeon master. Hopefully I've got all my notes and everything in order for this, but we'll see how this goes. I'm excited. And we're going to go around and we're going to meet our players and their characters. So they're going to introduce themselves and then they're going to kind of give you a little intro as to what brings their character into this adventure. So, why don't we start? I'm going to put Dylan on the spot.
Dang it. It's always me. Okay. Hi, I'm Dylan. My character, his name is Bartholomew Ignatius Seacaster. He's a bard. And he also looks like a Sahuagin, those little sharky fish people. So, he's got a mouthful of these razor sharp teeth. But he just kind of walks around with like this swagger and like a rapier on one side, wearing like a pirate hat, And I think he just sort of came into Port Peril because it's pirate city, man. Like, I'm a pirate, walks around, doing his pirate thing.
All right, so you wander about, eventually finding your way one evening while in town to this tavern that's a pretty popular location called the Formidably Maid, where there is drinking and eating and entertainment and roughhousing and bar fights break out constantly. They settle down, and possibly seeing some other faces in the crowd, people you don't know, but maybe you'll know soon. And we're going to go over to Brad. Why don't you introduce us to your character?
Sure. I'm Brad, and I'm playing a character, Mary Watersong. Looks like a regular human being, except pretty much blue all over with blue wavy hair. Relatively young. He grew up as a sailor in a fishing village, and he recently lost both of his, shall we say, adopted parents, because they were humans. And so he's been making his way into the world, trying to find more work as a sailor. And he went to the tavern because, as part of his growing up, he started started brawls in every city he's been in the most exciting and important tavern that he could find.
Excellent. Jenly, how about you tell us about your character and yourself?
Hello folks, I'm known as DnD5e online, and I've been playing here and there, but I mostly watch other people's streams. But I decided to play in this campaign because you are all awesome. So here we are. So I'm playing a human bard called Martins. So Martins is a Portuguese, Spanish name, and I decided to play him like he is like a Latin character or something. So So the truth is, he was just he was just walking around this area, and he spotted this fort and this bar, and him with his lute. He just stopped there and to gamble and to play for people, very very non-threatening, very common. Of course, he is dressed everything in a very in a very stereotypical type of pirate. Okay, but that's not but that's nothing to be minded of. He's just that. However, rumors say that he's been asking a lot about the runes that are along the way, that are along the coast. So yeah, but he's just normal.
All right.
Okay.
Cool. And Paladin Hulk.
Hi everybody, I'm Paladin Hulk, and I'm your favorite Twitch moderator, hopefully, for Random Tuesday, Geekspace TV, and Little Red Dot. And I'll be playing Holt, and I'm here to learn how to kill people. And I know that sounds a bit harsh, you know? I don't want to kill people, but, well, that's a lie. I do want to kill people. I mostly just want to kill one person. One fucking person. Lady Ibarra. She's on my list. It's a name. It's only a list of one, and once she's dead, I'm done. That's no more. She killed my love and my best friend. He and I grew up together on the streets. Then one night she took him from the jail. He wasn't even safe in fucking prison. It's just too painful a memory, and I might talk about it more later. But for now, let's just move on.
All right. And Kat.
Probably helps I mute myself. So I play Antoinette de Jong. She's a Triton, and she's born as the only daughter to the noble leader in her settlement, and she's always wanted to be on the surface, and not many of her family or anything actually go to the surface. They trade a bit, but there's no one who's actually properly gone to the surface to go there. But she just decided that's for her. She wants to explore everything. But so she only recently got to the surface and sort of started, you know, spending time there, and she has no idea how anything works. She's incredibly naive. Whatever you tell her about the local customs or anything else, she will believe. And yeah, she sort of found herself this evening, a bit of drinking, and yeah, things I guess are gonna go a bit haywire for her, but it's pretty much just like yesterday when her pouch was stolen, or the day before when one of her daggers was stolen. So it's not been great on the surface, but she's loving every second.
Excellent. So, you all, for one reason or another, as you have stated, have traveled to Port Peril, and on this particular evening, found yourselves amongst the crowd at the Formidably Maid, eating, drinking, watching some entertainment, perhaps providing the entertainment yourselves. It's mostly just another normal night at the bar. And as the night sort of comes to an end, some of you maybe had too much drink and doze off at your tables or in your chair where you were playing. A couple others maybe finished your meals and headed out into the street, but you never quite made it home. And then one or two of you, perhaps, who didn't imbibe as much alcohol, were wandering back to your inn for the evening and found shadowy figures stepping out of the darkness, surrounding you and making quick work of knocking you out and taking you away somewhere. And it's the next morning when, remembering the ringing of the laughter, the heady joy of excess, and the scents from the stewed meat, you start to wake up. All except Holt, who you're kind of sitting in the hold because you didn't get knocked out the night before so much as when you got surrounded and you realized what was going on, you quickly told them that, no, you wanted to go along. You knew what this was, and you were okay with going along with them. Even though the figure that stepped out of the shadow with his hair tied back under a bandana and his golden teeth kind of sneered at you questioningly, and they kind of threw a bag over your head, but didn't knock you out. They just dragged you away. But they've left you in the hold, and you've kind of sat up or maybe dozed most of the night while these other figures, these 4 other figures, lie slumped on the floor. And the boards are creaking. You can hear the ocean lapping outside as all of you begin to wake up and look around. And those of you, the 4 of you that were unconscious for various reasons, find yourselves with a heck of a headache. And you can feel just the floor kind of moving underneath you and just creaking as you go. And you start to kind of look around in this dark hold that you're in. And you take in these other figures for the first time.
Good morning.
Hey, you.
My name's Holt. And we're in the same boat, literally.
Can you please talk a bit lower? Your voice is not doing any good to my head. But where am I?
Want, mate. Whatever you want.
Where am I? I'm never drinking in this place again. Jesus.
Looking around, you see it's very dark down here, but you can tell that you're all in a large hold. You can see that there's a bunch of pillars that support the deck above you. Toward the back of the ship, there's a set of stairs. They look like they lead up to the deck above. And about halfway down the room in the floor, there's a trap door that appears to lead down. But it's currently closed.
Are we tied up?
You are not tied up.
Okay, I sort of feel along my clothes just to see what's missing. Because I assume something is missing, considering my previous evening's experience.
Yeah, so you sit up and you kind of start assessing your situations. And you do all suddenly start to realize that a lot of the items that you were carrying in town seem to have gone missing. And you may only still have just a handful of things on you. So as you look, Antoinette, what do you still have of the items that you carried before?
So I make no efforts to disguise this whatsoever. And directly out of my right boot, I pull out my driftwood wand. And I sort of check it. It's still intact, I assume, and I put it back. And that's all I have, other than my clothes.
All right, so you do. You see that it's intact. Looks like it wasn't noticed in your boot. As you're putting it back, you look over, and on the far wall, you can see there's a bunch of foot lockers just kind of lined up on the wall over there as well. And you see rolled up in the corner, it looks like various hammocks. And you can all ascertain that this is probably where the crew of the ship would probably sleep if it was nighttime. But the hammocks are all taken down during the day.
Also, you lot might want to be careful about that Sahugan over there. Don't know what's up with that guy. Felt wrong to just kill him, considering he was sleeping.
And I think when people start noticing things are missing, the first thing Bart notices is that he doesn't have his hat, and he's just like touching his head like, oh no. And doesn't even seem to notice anybody else talking about him.
Yeah, I look around and where is my loot? Have anyone seen my loot?
I took all your stuff.
Oh.
I consider it like a down payment, They teach us how to pirate, and then we pay them with our stuff. And if we're good, maybe we get it back. Something like that.
Sounds... Well, fair is not exactly the word that I was looking for, but yeah, I can accept that for now. but I check if I'm still clothed in, and if I still have a leather armor or something like that.
You don't have your leather armor on. You are wearing just like your regular trousers and the shirt that you wear under your armor. So it looks like they took that off of you.
All right. So I have my red shirt and my at least my red bandana. You also have with me, right? Okay. Then I felt on my boots that I still have, that I probably still have my dagger there, my one dagger there, and that's it.
I see everyone's got a little dagger stashed away. I've got mine too. I pull mine out of my boot.
Yeah.
I used to have a fucking axe. That was a lot better.
Well, I also thought about, because I also know how to play I also know how to play the flute. So a small flute, no, but no, I'll not do that. I will not hide my loot. Yeah, but anyway.
Oh.
So it's at this point, you hear from above heavy footsteps on the staircase.
And I get up.
Coming down the stairs, you see 1, 2, 3, and it's a little over maybe a half dozen people down the steps. The one in the front is kind of silhouetted as a lantern shines, and kind of painfully sears your eyes as you've been sitting in the dark all this time. And when you can look up and can see again, you see this sneering man with a braided beard and a mouthful of golden teeth. Holt, you recognize him as the one from the alley the night before, who kind of gave you a angry scowl and questioning look when you wanted to come along. He looks around at all of you, and you can see that he's flanked by these other 6 figures of various sizes, but you can't make them out very well because they're still shadowed.
Good morning.
Buddy, I think I hit you last night.
He just kind of looks around, ignoring the greetings. You see he's tall and thin, and he's got this big heavy coat and big heavy boots, and he's gets this pained expression on his face, and it takes you like a beat before you realize that he looks like he's scowling, but this is maybe his best attempt at smiling at you. And then he reaches in his coat and he draws out a whip that he holds at his side and says,
Well, this is quite a pickle, isn't it?
Still abed with the sun up over the yardum. Let's go, you filthy swabs. Let's get up on deck and report for duty, 'cause Captain Harrigan flays your flesh into sausage if you don't. He'll have fish gush fry you for breakfast. Let's move.
Aye, sir. But who are you? What's your name then?
I'm Master Scourge. Now move.
That's a damn good name.
Wait, are we moving? Is this moving? Is not just my head?
Hey, you're on a boat, mate. I just told you that.
He looks around and he cracks
Yes, but
the
the
whip.
boat is moving as well.
He cracks the whip against the floorboards and kicks up some dust, and he says, I said move! Go!
I'm already running past him.
Okay.
I'm going.
Oh, I get off, Buffy. I get up, Buffy.
So 2 of the shadowy figures who were down like on the bottom of the stairs start to lead you up, and the rest sort of follow behind. You all go up these stairs and find yourselves in what you take to be the main cargo hold of the ship. As you're quickly sort of led by, you notice that it's mostly empty right now, though you can see at the far side there's a couple cages with pigs in them, and somewhere in the darkness you hear chickens. But you don't see the chickens. You are sort of led around the corner to your left, and you can see that there's another set of stairs there. But you notice kind of tucked in this little corner between the 2 sets of stairs, where the mast kind of comes through, there is a figure, and he is attached to the mast by a manacle. And he's only wearing like a tattered pair of pants, and you see that he has no shirt on, and he is like heavily muscled, and if he were standing he would probably be 6'4", maybe 6'5" tall, and he kind of looks at you with this kind of sad scowl. And you can see as you're hurried past and the lantern light kind of hits over him, he looks like he's got feathers of some kind that are stuck kind of to his upper shoulders and kind of on his forearms. And it looks like there's like this black tarry substance that holds them on there. And he just watches you as you all go by him one by one.
It was a human, right?
He is a large human man.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you guys are...
Eyes on task.
I'm lollygagging back in the back. Just trying to keep out of sight.
As you slow down, one of the taller crew members looks at you and he's like, "Move, or you'll get the whip from Scourge."
I'm moving.
Whips.
Just slow. That bottle to the back of my head hurt last night.
That's not half of what you'll get if you piss off the man with the whip behind you. Keep moving.
I just say to the massive man when we were walking, I say, "Hello there." That's all.
You say hello there, and this the person you say hello to gives you a side look, and he's this male dwarf who he has this big ugly nose, and it looks like it's been broken more than a handful of times and never reset properly. And he just kind of looks at you over his nose, and he's like, "Don't talk to me. Keep moving." And he kind of jabs you with you realize he's carrying like this long sap, and he jabs you in the back and pushes you to keep going up the stairs.
Ah, that hurt.
Okay, I'm going.
Not the nicest help, are they?
So they herd you up and out, and you're up on the main deck of the ship. And as you come up, you sort of shield your eyes as the sun is bright in the sky. And you kind of get your first look around and realize that you're on a fairly large ship. And then you look around and you realize not only are you on this fairly large ship, you don't see land anywhere around.
I take it in.
So
Wow.
I'm not sure how long I've actually been asleep for or knocked out. As a Triton with water ability, would I be able to tell on like how far away we are based on the wave level or something?
You go ahead and make me a perception check.
Okay, this is the first character where my perception is 0.
I love it.
First roll, too.
Mr. Roll.
Good luck.
Roll, I don't know, the tap has frozen.
Oh, nice.
Good roll. Yay!
So
good roll for the game.
So you Antoinette, you take a look around and you sort of look, and then you look kind of back toward the back of the ship and lean out a little bit at the railing, and you realize that you can only just make out, like, you can't see the land itself, but you can tell that it's there just at the very far distance. So okay, it's almost out of sight. So you probably left sometime only a few hours ago from land.
Okay, like we're going in the wrong direction here. We want to go back to the land, like over there.
No.
Do we?
Out to sea.
Yourself, I want to be here.
Far too long since I've been to sea.
We're here, mates. We're pirates.
Sea is good. Pirates, sailor. I'm on a ship. That's all that matters.
And you also notice as you're all looking around that you're not the only people on deck. There are other figures sort of clustered around the mainmast. A couple of them looking up at the higher deck at the stern, and you can see two figures who are sort of kind of back a little ways back behind the ship's wheel, in quiet conversation with each other. The one of the two figures is a large muscular man. He has a shaven head, a very long beard that is bound with golden rings, and he wears an eye patch. And you all get the impression right away that this is probably the captain. He's this really big, like, imposing figure up there. The one that he's talking to is much younger than him, but he's balding. He's got a long black ponytail that he has kind of pulled back, and it's at the base of his neck, goes down his back. And he has a very long coat on, and he's carrying what looks like a well-used cat of nine tails, as he kind of leans in to listen to what the captain's saying to him. Just over their shoulders, there is a iron cage that's hanging from the mizzenmast. Inside it is a body. It is, you immediately can tell, he is dead, and he has probably been dead for a while. But what maybe catches your eye is the parrot that is sitting on top of the cage. It is the ugliest parrot you've ever seen. But as you watch, every couple of seconds, it kind of leans down over the cage and looks at the dead figure. And, hello. 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 And it seems to be trying to get his attention.
So, as I see the pirate captain, I go and I point my finger in his direction, and I cast message.
Ooh, magic.
And I send him a message saying, "I have special skills that I can help you with on this voyage."
He stops talking, and he looks toward everyone on deck. And he looks back at the figure, the other man, and you see, like, his face turns to a scowl as they both now turn and start walking toward where the wheel is. The ship's wheel is right at the front here of the stern, and he's looking down and scowling very angrily. As you guys all see this, these two people coming forward, and the captain's face seems to darken for some reason, as there's one of your number that's standing with you is pointing in his direction. You also notice a few other people on deck that kind of catch your attention. You figure that they also have to be newer recruits, because their level of cleanliness far exceeds some of these others that are milling about together. Particularly 4 of them stand out to you. There's a woman. She has long, fiery red hair. She's wearing a black leather tricorn hat with a seagull feather in the brim. And she has sailor tattoos up both of her arms. And around her neck hangs a skull and crossbones pendant on a chain. And she's got a clay pipe that's just kind of sticking out of the corner of her mouth. And when you guys are kind of looking around as you first came on deck and are sort of like taking positions, kind of getting your feet, she looks at all of you, and she kind of gives each of you in turn like a half smile. And then you see it disappear as she makes eye contact with Master Scourge. And she turns back away and kind of looks away from him. Along with her, standing on the ship's rail nearby and holding onto the rigging, is a small halfling woman. Her brown wavy hair is billowing in the breeze. She's looking like with her attention kind of up into the rigging. And she kind of seems to be paying attention to this gnome who's scurrying about, who's wearing a great big floppy purple hat. And he kind of climbs down and lands, like jumps down to the deck and sort of swaggers toward her with a smile. And you see he has an eye patch over his left eye and a small black mustache that curls at the ends, and this little perfectly trimmed black beard that goes all the way around his chin. And he fixes a gaze on the halfling and smiles, and she scowls at him just angrily. And then watching this, and this gentleman is a human, kind of a bigger fellow. He's got a bandana on his head that's like a blue scarf, and he just has this deep scowl on his face. And he just stares between these people, just looking at them, and shakes his head angrily. He looks over at all of you for a second, and the scowl kind of deepens, and then he looks back out over the ocean. And, so they kind of stand out as these new members. They're sort of separate from the rest of the crew.
I have the feeling that people here are not very friendly. They don't seem very friendly.
Well, they are pirates.
They seem friendly enough to me.
Yes, but you can be friendly pirates, can't you? I don't know. I've never been a pirate before.
Friendly with all my mates.
I feel like we haven't been making friends so far.
They seem friendly enough to me. What the heck?
Like, in our little group, can we all be friends?
Sure, let's all be friends.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe not the shark person, Mr. Hoogan.
I'm quite friendly.
Looks a little scary.
Ah, he's from the sea. What's wrong with anything from the sea?
Well, I've heard you lot eat people, so do you eat people? Because I'm people, and I would not like to get ate.
I don't think I've ever eaten a person before. I eat quite a lot, because I'm rather ravenous, but, well, appetites aside, I think I'm quite friendly. Friendlier than these fellows, anyway. Sort of look around at the crew.
Well, I think we all look and sound friendly here. So for now, yeah, we can decide to be friendly. At least for now, you know what I mean? For now.
So as you are kind of say this amongst yourselves, the captain has stepped forward, put both his hands on the rail. Still, he's glaring down at your little group. And he says in a deep booming voice, "Glad you could join us at last. Welcome to the Wormwood. My thanks for volunteering to join my crew. I'm Barnabas Harrigan. That's Captain Barnabas Harrigan to you. Not that you'll ever need to address me," and he sort of stares down at Miri with, like, daggers. He says, "I have only one rule. Don't speak to me. I like talk, but I don't like your talk. Follow that rule, and from now on we'll get along fine. Oh, and one more thing. Even with you new recruits, we're still short-handed, and I aim to keep what crew I have. There'll be a key haulin' for anyone caught killing anyone. Mr. Plug," and he motions at the gentleman standing at his shoulder, "if you'd be so kind as to make pirates out of these landlubbers, it'll save me having to put them in the sweatbox for a year and a day before I make pies out of them." And
that
he
just seems really counterproductive. Putting them in a sweatbox when
Who's he
you're
talking
short
about?
on crew.
Landlubbers?
Counterproductive.
Who's a landlubber?
He turns and walks away back to the back of the ship as you guys take this in.
Who's a landlubber?
I don't know, but pie sounds rather good right now. I'm feeling a little peckish.
He was talking about turning people into pies, and you just said that you didn't need people, because now I'm getting like mixed messages. Starting to get worried again.
Oh, he wasn't he? Oh.
Yeah. So which is it? Do you eat people or do you not eat people?
Well, as I said, I don't think I have. Yeah, I've never tried. Huh.
All right. This is not reassuring me at all. Just so you know. Like, I'm only getting like more worried. Is anyone else feeling the worried?
I'm not actually, because
Right, cannibalism.
if
Right,
he
don't eat me.
Cannibalism, if it's
I've got stuff to do.
I think you notice if he starts, munching on you. So just
Don't even fucking try, mate. Right,
No,
I've
I
never
think-
killed
I
anyone.
think you will
I'm
notice.
gonna be first then.
I think
Right,
you will
I've been
notice.
practicing.
So,
I've been stabbing the air right good. I think I could do it.
yeah, sure.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. Plug starts to descend from the upper level of the stern, and you all look at him and see that he looks angry, miserable, and uncomfortable all at the same time. He is bare-chested but wears an immaculate coat with pearl buttons, and he carries his cat of nine tails in his hand. You can tell that he definitely takes pride in his appearance. Everything about him is shiny, from the polish on his boots to the dome of his head. His teeth, however, as he looks at you and sort of snarls, are gray and yellow, and his face is fixed in this almost constant grimace. He points up the mainmast at the crow's nest and looks at all of you and says, "You lot, climb up to the crow's nest as fast as you can.
I
Now!"
immediately take off.
Oh.
All right.
I take a look at the surroundings and I find the path of least resistance and I begin climbing.
I just start
I'm
moving.
used to this. I'm a sailor. I worked on
Alright.
fishing boats.
So everybody is going to have to make athletics checks. And just so we know, Dylan, you got a nat 20 from Scotty.
Whoa, okay.
And Kat, you got an advantage from Brad, I believe, gave you the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And if Paladin Hulk, if you want to do something with the 100 bits you contributed, you can let
Oh,
me
I
know.
can't give him to myself because that's, that's terrible. So let's give him to the Sahukin.
Oh, hey, alright.
All right, so another advantage for you. So, yep, so you guys can all roll your athletics checks.
Fair. Oh.
If you are indeed jumping up and climbing up into the mast.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm not the worst.
All right,
I
so
mean, I've never climbed a mast before, so I think it shows.
so Miri, you grab onto the rigging and just start scurrying up quickly.
Oh my goodness.
Holt
Wow.
and Bart
Oh my God.
and Antoinette, you get into the rigging and start to climb, but you're sort of like adjusting to climbing up it, and you kind of slip a little, your foot goes through one of the slots, and maybe run into
I'm a
each
cat
other.
person, not a burglar.
And
What's taking you so long? This is
My
easy.
foot's stuck!
Martins, you like run up and grab hold, and then you kind of probably let go for a second and look at your hands like, oh, this is really gonna like burn my hands, like.
Yeah, and I'm feeling
No, I have a good
still.
strength score.
I'm feeling still hangover, so it's hard to look down and up.
But so currently, Miri is making the most headway. Everybody, roll me another athletics check.
Oh, geez.
All right, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go help Martine.
All right.
I don't think Antoinette has ever climbed before.
Booyah.
I think it's noticeable.
All right. So this time,
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need some help here. Sorry, guys.
well, so Miri
My
is
heart
now
is-
2/3 of the way up to this crow's nest. And Holt kind of scrambles back down and pulls Martines into the rigging with you all. So Holt and Martines are sort of below, with Bart and Antoinette kind of midway up, and Miri just hand over hand, looking like a pro, is climbing super fast up into the rigging. And give me one more athletics check as you race to see who gets to the top.
Come on, man. You can do this.
Goodness. Can I use my advantage to get that 19 instead?
Sure.
I'll take it.
All right, so let's see. All right, so Antoinette, you and you and Martines are both sort of get tangled up with each other about halfway up, as Holt, sort of having helped Martines, kind of scrambles up with Bart right alongside scrambling, and you both sort of come up alongside Miri, who somehow ended up with both legs through the rigging and kind of flipped on his back, kind of facing back down at you. So you're all looking at each other. Give me another athletics check. As no one has reached the crow's nest yet.
Oh my god.
Can I stay just here where I am? I cannot.
Whoa!
I don't
Wow.
further.
This is because I stopped to help someone.
That's nice. Karma kicking in.
All right, so Holt just sort of speeds past where Miri is kind of stuck and kind of clambers up and pulls himself into the crow's nest. As the rest of you sort of catch up with one another near the top, and you hear Mr. Plug yell from down below, "Get back down here!"
I slide down the pole.
But we're just
Why?
at the
Why?
here. I'm so confused. I thought you wanted us to be up here. What?
Down! Now!
I slide down the pole.
Ah!
I'm so confused.
I try to extricate myself from the rigging and just kind of jump and slide down like one of those nets you'd see.
Okay. All right. So you
This would be a terrible moment for the knife in the sails bit. Remember that? Okay.
Hey, you guys! All right, so you all make your way back down in various speeds and get back down to the deck where Mr. Plug is waiting for you. And the rest of the crew has kind of been watching this. He points at Holt and says, "You're gonna be a rigger. Get over there."
I don't know what that is, sir, but thank you. I will not let you down.
Bye!
You see, as you say that and you kind of move over to where he points, you see Master Scourge just kind of give you this, like, evil, like, sideways glance. Like he's not impressed.
Look, Master Scourge, I'm a fucking rigger. I did it. Hey.
He looks very displeased as you
Is
move
that a
away.
bad thing? Did I just get, like, demoted? I thought I did pretty good.
And as you're walking away, he lines up the other four of you who did not make it to the crow's nest, and he walks back and forth and looking at you all. And he says, "Do any of you cook?"
Cook? What cook?
I can eat, but not exactly cook, you know.
I could eat as well. I would consider myself something of a gourmand. You know, just my person.
I am, however, a somewhat good cleaner, if you need, and I can sing.
He looks at Antoinette. You? Do you cook? Antoinette, he's staring at you.
No, I can eat though.
He kind of gives you all a once over, and then he points at Bart and he says, "You're the cook's mate now. Report to Fish Guts in the galley. The rest of you are swabs, and you'll be working for Master Scourge."
Charming name.
What's a swab? We don't have swabs on fishing boats.
You'll find out.
My God, the Sahugin's gonna cook for us. Look, that's gonna get super confusing because its dietary needs are different from ours. It's a fish.
Quiet,
For
you!
God's sake, like, I don't mean to criticize, right?
I think
'cause
he's
it's my
gonna
first
serve
day,
you.
but that seems like a really bad decision.
Holt, I think he's gonna serve you.
Only if you don't do a good job at your rigging.
I don't know what rigging is.
Well, you better find out quickly.
You better figure it out.
Yeah, I walked up to around the crew. Yo, what's a rigger? What does that actually mean?
So as you ask that, I need you to roll me a d6, please.
Oh God, am I getting like whipped? Well, messed it up.
All right. So Mr. Plug walks up behind you and he says, "You're gonna be working in the upper rigging. Get up there, climb up, and you're gonna be checking and making sure that all of the ropes are tight and that everything's a go for the sails."
Oh, is that? Oh, I can do that. Right, you are, sir. And I climb into the rigging.
All right, roll me
Good luck, Holt.
an athletics check as you climb up into the rigging.
All right, I don't like go at top speed. I just climb normally now. There we go.
All right.
Nice average 10.
Yep. So you climb up carefully and get up into the upper rigging, and just roll me a straight dexterity check while you're up there. All right. So you climb up and you all watch as Holt seems to be he looks comfortable up there amongst the other riggers who climb up and join him and start working. Some of them are doing the same task as him. Some look like they're doing some heavy repairs. Others are just up and kind of keeping a lookout and things like that. And you only get a look for a second while he's up there before Master Scourge comes over and looks at Miri and Martins and Antoinette and says, "You're swabs, your work for me. And I need each of you to roll me a d6.
What do we do?
Nice. Alright, so Miri takes a look at you and says, you're gonna swab the deck. Get yourself a mop and a bucket and start scrubbing. There's sandstones over there that you can use as well.
Okay. Why would I use mops and sandstones? I can just clean the water off.
Get to it. And
Okay.
he kind of grips his whip a little tighter and watches you go. I need you to roll me a strength check, please. Excellent.
Yep.
That was a
That's a
saving
save.
throw. Sorry.
That's a save.
Oh, okay.
I hit the wrong one.
Still good.
See, much better.
Much better.
All right, so you get to work, and you find that this is very backbreaking and exhausting as you are starting from one end of this deck to the other, having to scrub the deck and get down on your hands and knees with these stones and kind of like clean it really good. There's fish guts to clean and things like that. Meanwhile, Antoinette, Scourge looks at you and smiles and says, "I've got a job for you. You're gonna man the bilges today."
The what?
The bilges.
What's that?
That's at the bottom of the ship. You're gonna go down and clean them out. And
Sure, why not?
so he points over to where Bart is standing, and the woman with the pipe in her mouth was kind of waiting, and he kind of points for her to sort of lead you down below with Bart, so Bart can find out where the galley is and meet this fish guts person.
Excellent.
And Martins, he walks up to you last and looks at you and says, he grabs hold of one of your hands and looks at your hands, and he says, "You're gonna be tying knots today."
Tying knots.
Mm.
That's beneath, but anyway.
You're gonna haul the ropes and do some knot work for me. Over there, and you see these big heavy ropes like on deck, kind of all spooled up in places. And so you quickly are led over, and I need you to roll me a strength check as well.
Oh man. Here.
Okay, so the ropes are big, heavy, and they kind of tear at your hands a lot, but you're kind of pulling them through, and you're not struggling too much with them, but you realize this is going to be a lot of work today, and you're probably going to be pretty exhausted later. So, and as you guys are doing this, you look around and you can see Holt up in the rigging with you doing some other jobs is that small halfling woman who was
Scowling at the, was it a gnome?
yes, so she's sort of not up as high as you, but she kind of is doing some work, and she climbs up every once in a while, and she switches between, thanks Brad, she switches between like doing that and then going over and like helping to refill the bucket for Miri and kind of collect some more sandstone and stuff for her or for him, and also the gnome with the floppy hat, you can see him kind of bounding around up there as well, and he is a very kind of quick on his feet, and he's sort of up in the crow's nest, sort of keeping watch today. But let's see.
If she gets close to me, I'll say, "Excuse me, like, are you like the first mate?"
She looks at you and she smiles and says, "No, I'm not the first mate. I've only been on this ship a little bit."
Oh, because you looked important. And
I am important.
Confident. Well, there you go then. Who is the first mate, if you don't mind me asking?
She points down to where you see Mr. Plug walking back and forth.
Oh, Mr. Plug's the first mate. All right.
She says, "Yes, him."
I figured he'd have a better, name than Mr. then. Like, Lieutenant or something. That's, right below a captain, right? I've got that right?
Mm-hmm. He's the captain's second in command.
Right. Maybe I should start calling him Lieutenant, see if he likes it. What do you think?
She kind of snickers and shakes her head and says, "Do what you will. It's not my fault if he hits you with that cat of nine tails he carries around with him all day."
I don't think he's going to hit me. Oh, no, I wouldn't want that. I want to get in on his good graces. I want to be the best damn pirate this sea's ever seen. At least for a little bit. Till I learn all the skills.
She kind of gives you a look, just a half grin, and then slides back down the rope to go off to do another job, and kind of strolls by Martin's and smiles and says, "You better be careful. Those tender hands of yours are going to get torn up real quick on a ship like this."
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am at your service.
Thank you.
My name is Martins.
She nods and she just says, "Rosie."
The Riveter.
So, meanwhile,
Just
yes.
a comment. If my hands start to get too rough or too bloody, I don't know. I can heal myself. Okay.
Okay.
I don't need any. It's just a verbal component in the
Okay.
spell.
So every once in a while during the course of your work, your wounds just sort of close up of their own volition.
Yeah, about two times only, because it is like a first level spell.
Excellent. All right. So meanwhile,
So before you go there, Jeanette,
yes.
as I'm sitting there scrubbing the deck, and I get kind of bored, I am going to I'm going to grab some of my spell stuff, and I'm going to shape water. And I am going to create a 5-foot cube of water on the deck that's going to start jiggling and shaking, just for the heck of it.
All right. So you create this water, and a couple of the crew members kind of give you a look as you're doing this, like a little surprised. And one of them, the big man with the blue scarf on his head, kind of watches you. And he just, actually for the first time, you see him kind of crack a little bit of a grin before he goes back to his overall scowl at you doing this. But you do, you can make me a perception check while you're doing it.
So there are no verbal or somatic components. It's just gripping on into the components of my component pouch and thinking about it to make it happen.
Excellent. All right, so perception. All right, so what you do notice is Master Scourge, who is kind of moving about, and he, as you're working, you notice he gravitates back to Mr. Plug quite often, and usually is in hushed whispers with him. But at this point, he's kind of on the stairs of the stern deck, sort of watching things, and he is glowering down at you. And the expression on his face, he's not even trying to do that smile. He just looks somewhat disturbed by you doing this. And you see, like, his eyes, like, flicking from this back to you in anger, and his hand kind of tightened on his whip, like, he seems like he wants to do something about it, but he's just kind of standing there watching for now.
I look up
maybe?
and I wave with a smile on my face.
His expression darkens even more when you do that. You get the strong impression that he doesn't appreciate this extra. This somewhat maybe even intimidates him that you have this ability.
I go back to work.
All right. So, meanwhile, Bart and Antoinette, this woman, she's leading you down. So she takes you back down the stairs, to the hold area, and you walk back past this muscular figure who's still attached by his manacle to the mast. She points to the far end of the hold and looks at Bart and says, "If you go through the door at the end there, don't go up the stairs because the captain doesn't like people coming in and out of his quarters. But go to the end and go through the door. You'll find the cook, Fish Guts, inside. Let him know that you're the new cook's mate, and he'll give you something to do."
Wow, thank you. I didn't get your name.
She looks at you and she says, "Well, I'm Sandara."
Well, thank you, Sandara.
And the two of you, since also Antoinette, you're standing there, you see more closely now she's got this this pendant around her neck. Why don't you both roll me religion checks?
Oh, that's not good.
Sorry, I'm having a massive delay here. There we are.
All right. So Bart, you look at it and you think that while it could just be a just decorative necklace, you get the impression that this is perhaps an actual religious symbol of the goddess Basmara
Ah, yes.
that her followers and her clerics will carry with them
Okay.
and wear.
I point to it and I'm like, oh, you too, huh? Oh. I give her a thumbs up.
She smiles and looks down at it and she says, "Yes, I convinced Cutthroat that if she didn't give it back to me out of the collection she has of all these goods, that she'd be cursed by the goddess. And she seems to be a bit worried about being cursed, so she gave me a few of my things back." "Oh, Cutthroat is in charge. Actually, her quarters are in there. She's a good friend of Fish Guts, but she is in charge of she's a quartermaster, so she basically deals with all the goods on the ship. She collects them and sells them and keeps them."
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, anytime things come up missing from people, usually it's Cutthroat who's acquired them.
And I assume people have to buy them back, yes?
Well, buy them back or other means of getting them back. Why, are you missing anything important?
Oh, just my hat. A little, and my rapier, but I'll get them back soon enough, I'm sure.
She kind of smiles and she says, "Oh, like this one," and she pulls the rapier from the sheath around her belt, and you realize she has your rapier.
Oh, yes, actually.
Huh.
Yes, actually.
She unhooks it from her belt and hands you the rapier.
Well, why, thank you. I don't know what to say. I'm going to pull out a bottle of perfume that I still have on me, and I'll give that to her, and I'll go, well, I don't feel right just taking it from you.
Oh, well, no. I mean, I appreciate that, but I just thought that it wouldn't do anyone well to not have some of their personal items if they were really looking for them. She looks at Antoinette. "Were you missing anything?"
Oh, just a couple of daggers, robe, nothing exciting.
I did pick up a few daggers. Do you want one?" And she pulls a dagger out from a pouch on her hip and hands it to you.
Oh, look, it's my dagger.
"Oh, I got the right one then.
Yeah.
If the others who came with you happen to be missing anything, I may have collected a few of their items as well. if you get a chance to ask after them.
Sure.
Quite
sure.
resourceful.
It's what I do. Figure I might as well use what I can. My goddess blesses me with opportunities, and I take them.
Well, at this moment,
Oh, go on.
I'm working and singing. This would go much better if I had my if I had my instrument. If I had my, I could be more entertainment. This work could go faster.
And the voice of Martin's kind of echoes down and she says, "I did see a lute in there."
That's what I need. My loot.
So she does. She points you in the direction of the door at the far end, Bart, and then she says to Antoinette, "Unfortunately, you have to come with me. Your job is further down in the ship."
That sounds very exciting. Let's go.
All right. And so Antoinette and Sandara go and disappear down the second set of stairs toward the hold. And Bart, you are left to walk across by yourself to this door that's been pointed out.
Yeah. There's that dude chained up to the pillar, right?
Yes.
Oh gosh. I won't mess with him for right now. I'll just walk past towards the kitchen then.
So that guy, is he still alive?
When
think
you walk
so.
past, yeah,
Right?
he looked up when you guys went upstairs and when you came back down. He definitely looks like he's alive. He's just chained up there for some unknown reason. All right, so do you cross over to the door on the other side?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So you walk across, and as you walk by, you startle the little pigs a little bit, and they start kind of squeaking in their cages. One of them gets overly agitated and actually dislodges the door of his cage and goes running across the hold, squealing into the shadows. And you just kind of watch it run away.
Can I
You're
chase
about to
after
kill
it?
off another pig. Is it happening again? Is
Can I
this
chase
same
after
pig
it?
reincarnated?
Do you give chase to this little piglet that runs away?
Yeah.
All right. Give me a dexterity or an acrobatics to kind of try and run and grab this sucker.
Okay. I'll do acrobatics. Yeah.
All right.
Pretty good.
So this thing runs across, and as it goes to escape up the stairs, you kind of run and roll and tackle the little pig, and kind of get it in your hands, and it starts squealing and kicking, and you just see the bald one with the muscles who's attached just kind of look at you and kind of give you a side glance and just stare at you with this kind of vacant gaze.
All right.
I giggle at the sight of this person jumping on top of a pig.
You look up, Bart, and Miri's at the top of the stairs with this water spell cleaning the stairs.
I've got it. Don't worry. And I'll walk back to the cage of this pig and try and put it back in and close the cage, I guess.
All right, so you have safely secured one little pig back in its cage. What else do you want to do, Bart?
Then I'll head for the kitchen as
All
long
right.
as it's secured.
All right, so you head through the doors at the end of the way, and it opens into this kitchen area. And as it opens, you see a cramped and chaotic room. There's 2 wooden work tables, several cupboards, 2 small stoves against the port wall, and as you look around, there's every cooking utensil imaginable in here. Also, a particularly frightening array of meat cleavers hangs on the wall. You notice immediately a bunch of chickens clucking around and bouncing around, as well as 3 goats that are wandering freely through the kitchen. It is a room that is a madness of dirt, food, and knives. Your first thought is, how the hell does anybody find anything in this space? The 2 stoves are lit with large cauldrons bubbling away on top of them. There are spices all over the place. There are rain barrels full of water. There's a bunch of tubs of rum. And there's 2 cupboards, the door's slightly ajar, where you see like ship's biscuits and salted beef, and there's a couple barrels of sauerkraut. And then like this one pile like of fresh vegetables you figure they must have gotten while they were in port. And you see this heavy-set man kind of over by the stoves. He's got these bushy tufts of black hair that stick out from behind his ears. He's wearing like a chef's hat. As he turns, you see he's got rotten teeth, and his apron is covered in stains. All like there's not a clean spot on the apron. And he's kind of waddling around the kitchen with a chicken on his shoulder. And he just sort of looks up at you as you walk in, and his jaw kind of goes a little slack. And the little toothpick he has in his mouth almost falls out. Who are you?
What the fuck's up? I'm your new assistant, Bartholomew Ignatius Seacaster, sir. Fish guts. Sir.
He kind of burps a little bit, and you get like the smell of rum off of him, and you get the impression he is not entirely sober.
Oh well.
And he says, "Cook's mate. Oh, you help cook meals, and you fish. You do a lot of fishing. Any questions?"
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, and he kind of starts pointing things out in the kitchen, like where certain things are. And you look and you're like, where? You don't see what he's pointing for. Like, it's like, okay, well, maybe it's in that pile over there. I don't know. And he says, what am I going to have you do today? I don't know. But let me tell you this. The ship here, this ship that you're on right now, it's just poison. Don't let anyone hear you say it out loud. But the hull's always listening, and the captain, he hears all of it. It's poison, this wormwood is. Rotten right down to the core. You never meet a more nasty, sour piece of work than Captain Harrigan. I never have in all my days at sea. And the crew's mostly the same. Especially that Mr. Plug, the first mate. He's a vicious little sod. He'd take his own mother's liver to the butcher, and he'd make pies with it, he would. But they leave me alone mostly. They know I can't harm them. He kind of scratches his rear end and looks you up and down, and I need you to roll me a d6.
Oh. Okay. I shall. What can I do for you this fine day?
He says, oh, I know. He walks over to the corner, and he, like, moves a bunch of stuff, and then he pulls out a harpoon. And he waddles back over to you, and he hands you the harpoon. Then he walks back to another corner, and he comes out with some hooks. And he walks over and hands you these hooks. And then he's like, where did I put it? And he starts digging under one of the tables, and he pulls out a net. And he walks over and he shoves the net on top of everything in your hands. And he says, I need you to catch me some leatherback sea turtles, okay?
Oh, turtles. Oh, yes, turtles, yes. I can do that.
Okay.
What the shell? Little sailor humor.
That's your job for the day. Catch the turtles for dinner.
Yes, I can do that.
All right. Good luck to you. So, he sends you out and back up on deck. So those of you up on deck and in the riggings, you see Bart come back laden with all of these items as he comes walking by. And Bart, you pass this half-orc woman who has this, like, double-headed, like, big axe kind of over, like, her back.
Okay.
And she kind of gives you this sort of, like, sniff as you walk by and looks you up and down, and then just sort of snickers and goes through the door as you came out from the galley, and you hear her say, "Fish guts, where's the rum?"
Okay.
So you go up on deck with all of your items.
Yeah, and I'll try and figure out how all this works. Keep my eyes out for sea turtles, I guess.
All right, so I need you to roll me a survival check, please.
Oh, survival. Oh. Okay. Oh, well, that's not bad.
All right, so you start trying to figure this out with throwing your nets and then using the hooks to kind of bring up the nets. And so you guys on deck watch as Bart spends most of his time. He's fishing for turtles, and it takes him a little bit, but he seems like he's actually getting kind of good at this at one point, and is bringing in a fair number of these buggers. So, meanwhile, Antoinette, Sandara leads you back down to the hold where you first woke up. And she walks over to the hatch in the middle of the floor. She leans down and she kind of grabs hold of the ring and she kind of gives it a good pull. And it sort of sticks for a minute. And then you hear a kind of whoop as she pulls it open. And you see this dark hole. And there's a ladder that descends down. And you can hear the water more loudly down here, and you kind of look in. Now, do you have dark vision?
I do not.
All right.
I see nothing but black.
She looks and she kind of nods and she walks over and opens one of the footlockers and takes out a lantern and walks back over and lights a lantern for you and hands it to you and says,
I look at the lantern as if it's something special.
She says, you may need this.
Sure. What do I do?
So you're going to go down in the bulge today, and you're responsible for cleaning up down there. Oh, and just ignore the gentleman chained up at the back.
There seem to be a lot of people, chained up around here. Is there, some story behind this?
Well, I mean, they break the rules, and there's various punishments for breaking the rules. And Jack, Jack, who's down below, he got caught lifting something from the quartermaster's store, and I don't think things are going to end well for Jack. He's in a lot of trouble. This isn't his first offense, to be honest.
What do you do if you run out of space to lock people up? And
She just looks at you and smiles and says, I believe the captain considers the whole ocean space enough for everybody.
I see. Blank, 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 blank.
So, she says, good luck today. And like I said, just stay away from Jack. And she heads back upstairs as you look down this hole and down this ladder.
Okay. I'm gonna awkwardly hold the lantern in one hand, then climb down the ladder. This is the second time I've climbed a ladder, I think. The first being trying to climb up to the crow's nest earlier, and that didn't go too well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little confused on how ladders work, because we don't have ladders in the sea. So I make it down the ladder. What do I see?
So you climb down the ladder, and as you get to the bottom, as you're climbing, you get this foul stench coming up, like standing water. It's gross. And you can tell it's really damp down here, and your lantern sort of illuminates, and you see all these cobwebs on the ceiling all around. And as you get to the bottom, you sort of step down into about 1 to 2 feet of this dark, brackish water that's sort of just standing water here. And looking around, you see toward the stern a single bilge pump, and toward the front of the ship, you see a man chained with manacles. There's another 5 sets of manacles attached to the wall there too, but he's sort of sitting in this water, kind of up to his waist, and just looking miserable. And he kind of looks up at you as the lantern light comes in, and he just kind of stares at you.
Hi.
Hello. And his voice sounds like he hasn't had any good water in a while.
You're Jack, right?
Yeah, what's it to ya?
I don't know, just make conversation. I'm here to clean things up. Looks like it needs a clean around here. How are you doing?
Better than I'll be doing later on tonight.
Oh, what are you doing later on tonight? Anything fun?
He gives you this hard, glassy stare. And he just doesn't answer you.
Okay, just don't answer me. I'm just gonna go clean over there.
Alright, so let's see. Why don't you roll me a strength check, please?
Sure, with my -1. Oh, wow.
Nice. So you start tidying up down here and kind of like get the, like just kind of cleaning up any junk or anything that's underneath in the water and sort of bringing it back up above. And so you're up and down the ladder a little bit. What's your passive perception?
10.
A 10. All right.
I'm not a perceptive person.
That's fair. Why don't you roll me a perception check then?
Sure.
All right, so you spend most of this day cleaning down here, and you just find mostly like you do find that you have to clean up some waste because they don't clean up after the people down here, and other things that maybe like got left down here or knocked down here when the door's been open. But otherwise, you don't find anything very interesting inside of here as you're working. So, go ahead.
Yeah, so to me this is all very interesting because I've never been on a ship like this before, so I think I'm going to probably spend some time looking at everything I'm finding. Ooh, look, it's a stick. Oh, look, it's another stick.
Oh, look, it's the hilt of an old sword. The blade's gone.
Yeah. I'm going to spend my time. This is why I don't notice anything exciting happening because I'm just like, oh, look, random rubbish.
Are you singing a song while you're doing this? Like,
No,
look at this stuff.
I'm not a Disney princess.
Okay.
Not yet.
What?
So these tasks are actually, now that you all are doing your tasks, they're actually things that would take most of your day. Like each job is something that would take most of your day. But you could find at least a little time to maybe get away from working for a little bit to do something else if you wanted to. But like you're not able to disappear too long. But so if any of you have things that you think you might want to do as it's your first day on the ship, be it exploring wise or things like that, you each can do like one. You can make a choice of doing one thing which would be considered an activity during the day, which could either be working diligently at your task, which would actually help you get a better bonus to rolling for your task. You can intermix with NPCs that are working nearby and try to get more information or make friends. If you had any interest in sneaking around the ship at some point and being nosy, that's an option. Also, if you wanted to try to slip down and maybe try to reacquire any of your gear from the quartermaster, you could try to go and barter with her. And finally, you do have the option to shirk your duties, but there could be penalties should you do it.
Yeah.
So seeing as how the Miri is up on the deck swabbing it, as he's swabbing the deck, so he won't even be shirking his duties, but as he's swabbing, he will chat up all the, as he comes closer to each crew member up there, he will chat them up and talk to them and kind of get the lay of the land as to who's who and what's what of this ship.
All right, so Miri, of those people, I'll let you decide. So if you want to try to really get kind of up close and really get to know maybe one specifically, you have your choices of Sandara, who has come back up and is doing some work with ropes. So she's the redhead that escorted the others down below. There's also Rosie, the halfling. There's the large blue scarfed kind of sallow fellow who kind of gave you dirty looks. And let's see, there's also amongst the other swabs, where are you? There they are. There is a female gnome who's been wandering about doing some swabbing of the deck on the upper stern, who looks like she only has one eye. There is also a human man who's a younger lad. You notice he's got some looks like some kind of like ivory tusk in his back belt that's got like etching in it, and it's kind of like nice and like fine and artistic. There is a big human woman who she looks like she's slipping a drink out of like a flask every now and then, and she's kind of boisterous and laughing most of the day. And there's also an older woman with a shaved head, but it's not completely shaved. It's actually like she's got gray hair, and she shaved it in lines, so she's got lines of gray hair going down her scalp. And then there's a male half-orc who just, every time he walks by, he almost steps on you, like, or into you, or like never excuses himself. He's kind of big and angry. And that, I think, is all of the swabs that are working around you right now.
So I will focus my attention, I think, on Sandara.
All right.
She seemed to have more run of the ship, if you will.
She did. And you did notice she was the one who gave Master Scourge a dirty look when he came on deck with you earlier today, too.
Yes.
All right, so she passes you a couple of times doing various tasks. She kind of gives you a smile here and there. She points out your water spell. She says, "Be careful they don't get mad at you, but it's a nice way to handle your task."
Well, I appreciate that. And what brings you to the ship, and what's brought you here?
Oh, well, I didn't come here of my own accord, but everything is my goddess's will. So if I'm here, I suppose I was meant to be.
Aye. And what is it that you do?
Well, currently, I handle chores similar to what you're doing there, or working with the ropes, or fixing things, or cleaning up various things. But in my regular life, I'm a follower of Bismara, and at one point I had my own small temple on a dock in my hometown before I left and headed out to sea to find adventure once my parents passed away.
Aye, and how do you think we succeed on this ship?
She looks at you and she says, "I haven't been here very long. I've probably only been here about, this is my maybe third or fourth day on ship.
But you seem to have the run of the ship.
Well, let's just say that pirates can be a scared bunch when it comes to gods and curses and things, so I talk a lot about Bismara cursing them if they do things to upset me or to hurt me. Didn't really keep that Master Scourge from trying to make a move, but I put him in his place. That's why he doesn't like me very much."
Ah, I see. And what do they think of the magics?
I don't know. There's a couple of the officers who have some talent, I think, but I haven't seen much of that. I'm not sure what they'll think of that.
I like to play with water.
I can see that.
It's kind of my thing.
Well, just be careful you don't anger the wrong people, my little friend.
So, how might I get some of my belongings back? I'm
Are you-
assuming you have all of yours?
I have most of mine. What are you looking for in particular?
Oh, well, there's a couple of items that I would like to get back. There's a couple of toy soldiers that that my parents had left me that I'd love to have back in my possession because there's just sentimental value for them, nothing more. And maybe my rope. My rope's very important.
Your rope?
I've got 50 feet of silk rope.
Oh. That was yours then, huh? Well, I'll tell you a secret. In the last footlocker near the pigs, if you're looking for your rope, it's there.
Ah, well, thank you.
I wasn't sure who that belonged to, but I thought maybe that would come in handy, so I stashed it away.
It does come in handy. How about my toy soldiers? Any word on those?
I might have seen them on a shelf. I'll have to see if I can acquire them, or at least maybe make it easier for you to get them back from Cutthroat.
That would be appreciated. One of them's broken, and it's okay. It's been broken for a while, but it does have like I said, sentimental value.
Well, I'll see what I can do.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So, and meanwhile, up in the rigging, Holt, as you're climbing around, the floppy-headed gnome keeps kind of passing by, whistling, sort of going hand over hand, easily through the rigging nearby, sort of keeping an eye on you up there, but he doesn't really say much as he does so.
Can I ask a question?
He gives you a look and he says, "You can ask, it doesn't mean I'm going to answer."
Like, how does this whole ship thing work? Like, I know we're supposed to be robbing ships and stuff and, like, fighting, but I'm not real good at fighting yet. So, like, are there drills? Do we get taught? How does that go?
So, well, the way that I see it, we do a lot of this random, everyday, like, heavy-duty work type thing. And, it's mostly that. During the night, after all the work is done, there's some gambling if you want to, or sometimes you can get one or two to entertain the rest of us, and other things like that. But I actually haven't gotten to see a lot of action on this ship yet. No, my previous ship there was much action to be had, but this ship I am fairly new here, and but don't you worry, my blade is quick, and so is my sense of humor.
Well, I sought this ship out specifically because it raids Lady Ibarra's ships. So, like, I've got good hopes we're going to be fighting. Like, maybe not like right now or next week or something, because I do need to train. But you haven't seen any training, then? No. Like this, say, stab a fellow.
I mean, not so much. And the most training I think you get on ship is if you piss someone off or they piss you off and you go into, a little bit of a scuffle. But as long as you don't kill anyone, because the captain is very much against anyone killing anyone else on ship.
All right. So you told me just now that you're good at fighting.
I am very talented.
Like, maybe train me? Is that a thing we can do?
Hey, you see him kind of like, Oh, well, of course, I would, of course, give you some excellent swordplay. And you see...
I mean, I like to use an axe. Is that going to be a problem?
Oh, no, I am so skilled with the sword, your axe shouldn't be a problem.
All right, good.
Though, I mean, we could probably start with some saps to begin with. I think they have them down below.
That's the little, hitty thing, right? That they used to hit people unconscious with?
Yes, those. Indeed.
I mean, I doubt we're going to be using those in ship-to-ship combat, right?
No, but I mean, you can learn a lot in the way of the regular skills of the actual fighting without actually bludgeoning and or slashing your crewmates.
Right. That is a good point. Yeah, I don't want to kill no one or cause them bodily harm, because we need all the hands we can get.
Yes, we are.
Be in an actual fight.
We are apparently somewhat short-handed at the moment. It appears that at some point they lost a handful of crew members somewhere before Port Peril.
I mean, that does happen when you fight. Like, people are going to get stabbed, right?
Indeed.
Hopefully not us, or my new friends, or anyone. But, it's bound to happen.
Just steer clear of The thing you have to worry about most on this ship is, aside from getting stabbed, is actually getting hit with one of those whips from those two fellows down below.
Yeah, those are nasty, especially the one with like 9 bits on it.
Oh yes, and he enjoys using it very much if he gets the opportunity, let me tell you.
I haven't seen him use it yet though, so that's a good sign.
Oh no. Well, I think he's looking forward to tonight's festivities, so he's been in a better mood today.
All right, well, I best get on with it.
Oh, all right then. Good luck.
I want to make a good impression, and you know that's assuming how you don't get whipped by doing your job.
Sounds excellent.
All right.
And meanwhile, down in the bilge, there, Antoinette, you are busily cleaning away and like lugging things up and out as you can.
And discovering new things. I found a fork.
You do find a fork. When you suddenly feel something feels like it's crawling across the back of your neck.
I tapped the back of my neck. What is it?
So as you go to tap the back of your neck, does a 14 hit you?
Yeah, of course it does.
You feel this tiny little bite, and you realize that there's something small and creeping on the back of your neck, and it just bit you, and you take 1 point of piercing damage from the bite. And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh boy. That worked. So I don't know what it is with my character sheet. It's really slow.
All right, so Constitution save. So all right, you got a 20. So it bites you. You don't feel any ill effect from it biting you, but ow, that hurt. Roll me an initiative, please.
Oh boy.
All right, so you sort of like reach for the back of your neck and it bit you, and it attempts to do so again. 24 to hit you.
Yeah.
As it bites, and you take another point of piercing damage, and I need another Constitution saving throw. As you realize there is some kind of small bug, possibly a spider, creeping around on your back and biting you. As you get bit the second time, you feel like a little bit like a lightheadedness come over you for a second. And you're actually going to take 1 point of strength damage. So your strength goes down by 1 as the spider bites you.
So it's a -2 now.
It is. What do you want to do?
Is it still attached to me?
It seems to be still creeping and crawling somewhere around on your back.
Alright, can I try and pull it off?
Sure, you can roll me an athletics check, and the spider will roll, it's more dexy, so he's going to try to get away from you.
That would be with a -2, mind you, because that's strength-based. So.
All right, so you do grab it, and you do kind of pull it off and get it in your hand, and you see this, this gross-looking little spider that's like maybe a half an inch body size with little legs that was crawling around on your back. And Jack says from the darkness, "Yeah, those bilge spiders will get you every time."
Okay. I want to throw it far.
All right, so just make me a strength roll to
Sure.
or a dex. Roll dex to toss this thing.
Sure. Let's do it. Oh.
All right, so you throw this thing off toward the stern, like back toward the bilges, and it disappears from sight. Roll me another Constitution saving throw.
All the good rolls now. 19.
All right, so this time you kind of feel that lightheadedness again for a second, but you shake it off, though you still feel like a little bit weak from whatever poison the spider had. But otherwise, you look around, you kind of check, you don't see any other spiders creeping and crawling on you. But at some point, it looks like one of them slipped onto you from somewhere.
And I don't see that spider that I threw anymore either.
Nope, he you threw it, it disappeared into the darkness, and you maybe heard a tiny little splush but it does not seem to come back out.
How many of them are down here, Jack?
He shrugs from where he is and he says, I don't know. Plenty of them, though, and they're probably hungry.
Is that what you mean by the fun you're going to have tonight? Is it because all the spiders are going to come out?
No, it's not that. Not that at all. And then you hear a bell from up above, and the rest of you have been working all day. The bell's going off as it is getting toward the end of the day of work, and Fish Guts is coming up on deck carrying like a couple of platters on either hand with like some biscuits and some things like that. He looks over toward Bart and sees the net full of fish, and he's like, good. That means you don't have to work the bilges tomorrow because you caught enough food.
That is good.
Come help me hand this out. And you
What
all...
should I do with the turtles?
we'll just leave them over there for now.
Okay. Run over to help him hand out biscuits and stuff.
So, and the crew, everybody up in the rigging, you kind of like start coming down. Those of you that were like swabbing the decks and things like that, you get up and kind of come over, and start collecting your food. And he, sort of like leaves it, he looks at Bart and is like, you distribute cook's meat. I'm gonna go and, give the officers their dinner. And he sort of like waddles back away. So you guys see this heavy-set large man just kind of waddle back toward the stairs and back down into the darkness. And everyone starts jockeying around and like moving in to like grab their food and stuff.
Oh, there you go. Biscuits for all.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Do I have my loot now?
You don't currently have your loot.
Which one that said that she saw my loot? What was it Rosie or?
It was Sendara, the human
Sendara.
priestess of Besmara.
Okay, I'm gonna keep eating, and if she's around, I wanna ask her if she. I'm gonna ask her where I can find my loot. If I can have it back, too.
She says, well, if you're willing to be a little patient, I might be able to collect it from Cutthroat myself. If not, she looks over and you see her eyeballing the half-orc woman off on one side who's eating something in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
She's not currently in her room. So but you don't want to get caught taking things that don't belong to you.
Well, it belonged. I mean, I know what I mean. I know what you mean.
That's not the pirate way.
I think I can wait, and I can just use my voice meanwhile, right?
I mean, being patient may be the better choice. It is only your first day, and you don't want to get in too much trouble.
True.
You'll find out tonight what happens to the last person who tried to take something from Cutthroat.
Okay. That looks like a party then. We have a party. Good. Okay, so I just keep on eating and singing. What is that kind of singing? Let's see. I don't know, something like this. We are the pirates. Oh, dearest. We'll keep on plundering. No, that's something like this.
So you actually know, all of you notice when Martins is singing, it seems like Rosie, the halfling, it kind of brightens a little bit more. Like the entertainment kind of brightens her spirits a bit. Like this is very important to her, being able to entertain. But after it kind of brightens it, you do see her kind of look off, and she gets kind of a sad look. Like you get the feeling like she's missing something, and she seems a bit sad about this.
So as I see that, I will slide next to her and ask her what's wrong as I'm eating my biscuit.
Yeah, you look a bit sad.
She looks between the two of you as she chews on a bit of beef jerky, and she says, "Well, I'm missing my when I came on board. Well, before I did, I had a fiddle that was my grandmother's, and they took it away, and it's been locked in Cutthroat's quartermaster chamber since I've been on board, and I haven't had a chance to figure out how to go about getting it back yet. I'm working on that."
I assume you've asked, right?
I've asked. I'm gonna have to come up with some kind of trade or barter to get it back. Cutthroat likes to get something in return for, selling you items that belong to her.
They didn't belong to her, though.
Well,
it is yours.
Well, they're in her possession, and, well, that means currently they belong to her.
I see.
Remember we paid it to become pirates?
I didn't pay anything to become a pirate.
Well, I had to give up my chainmail, my axe, my shield, bunch of stuff in my backpack.
Just because you chose to, the rest of us had it taken from us.
I mean, that is fair. But that's how it works, That's the price you pay for becoming a pirate. And you get to work here on this ship, and you get to see the ocean, which is pretty cool. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. Look at it. There's nothing out there. Nothing at all. I grew up in a fucking city. There was buildings like right here all the time. This is pretty neat.
That sounds so cool. I wish I would have grown up in a city. I grew up in the ocean.
What, in there?
Well, not here. Like, further that way. But yeah.
I mean, is it all that different?
I mean, there's water everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
But we have buildings too. But, like, we don't have some of the things you guys have. It's, it's very different.
I grew up on the streets. Like, it wasn't... Not streets are like where everyone walks and no one lives. And I had to live there.
I had a combination of both. I was living in a fishing village. Days on the water, nights in the village. Lots of fights at the bar, too.
What did you do to, like, earn a living?
I fished.
All right.
I was on my parents' fishing boat.
So, like, if they were running this crew correctly, not that I'm saying that they're not, you should be fishing, right? Because you're a fisher.
Maybe. I tended to be the navigator on the fishing boat.
Right. Well, I think they've got that handled.
I don't know. I've been looking, and they seem to be lost.
Really? Are they lost? That's not good.
Seems to be, at least to me.
I tapped the woman we were talking about before. Is he right? Are we lost?
Well, I'm not a navigator, but I think that they know where they're going.
Who makes the
We're
decision?
not, like, circling.
Well,
Can I tell if we have been circling?
you can roll me a survival check.
Sure.
I choose to fail because I've never been on a boat.
You Antoinette, you don't believe you've been circling. You believe that the ship has been, from your best guess, it's traveling out from the port and heading out west into the islands and things like that. Though right now you can't see any of them. You're definitely putting a lot of distance between you and the mainland.
Okay, we have not been circling. I don't think we have. I would know. I know water.
I didn't
think we're
say
going
you were
straight
circling.
that
I
way.
said they were lost.
Right, but like that means that you'd be going in circles and being like, "Where am I? Is it this way? No, is it this way?"
Oh, that's true. If you've got a bad navigator, you could go east when you meant to go west.
That is a good point. Yeah.
And I think they have a bad navigator.
Which way are we going then? North, south?
Antoinette, you're pretty sure you're heading west.
We're heading west.
West.
Heading
All right.
west.
Are we supposed to be heading west?
Rosie shrugs her shoulders. I have no idea where this ship plans to go.
Who makes a decision?
Captain, I assume. Or Mr. Plug. Or one of the other ship's officers.
The ship
Very
has
much
officers?
Well, yes, the ship does have officers. They
I
were
don't
that
think it means like the police.
they were that other group that was standing off kind of on their own closer to the stern deck when the captain was talking earlier. There was
The ones that didn't do anything?
Yep, there was that woman who was sailing master. I believe it's Longfarthing is her name. And then there is the that bigger girl there, the master gunner, Crine. And of course there's the ship surgeon. He's known as the Stitchman. I never got his real name yet, but they call him the Stitchman. And then of course there's Crine's gunner mate, Kipper. And there's that gnome who's the bosun's mate. Basically is attached at the shins to both Plug and Scourge. And of course that leaves I don't think you saw her. She might have been inside at the time, but there's Kalki, who's the captain's cabin girl. And then of course there's Mr. Plug's pet. You might have seen him downstairs, Owlbear.
Oh.
Pet owlbear.
There's a fucking owlbear on the boat.
Well, no, the big fellow that's chained up to the mast down below.
Oh, good. I thought I was an actual owlbear. It was like, what? That's madness.
Well, I mean, he definitely fights like an owlbear, and he's a bit of a brute of a fellow. But and then she looks over, and you guys see Master Scourge and a couple of the others, the dwarf with the broken nose. They're dragging a man up from below deck who is in manacles. And Antoinette, you recognize the sailor who was in the hold.
Oh, it's Jack.
And he looks.
Is he your friends?
We hung out today. He was there where I was cleaning.
All right.
And where there's spiders, lots of spiders. So I guess he's escaped the spiders now. Things should be better for him now.
Well, that's good.
I wouldn't be so sure, but yeah, we'll see.
So,
I mean, there's spiders up here, are there? Are there more spiders?
Or whipping him or something.
Because I was already bitten today. I don't want to be bitten by spiders again.
You got bit? That's not good.
No,
Let me see. Come on, don't be shy.
you do see on the back of her neck, there's like a little like reddened bite mark where she got bitten by the little bilge spider.
Ooh, that looks painful. And I touch it real quick, and then I heal the hit point away with lay on hands.
Yes.
There we go.
As this is happening, you look over and you see this Jakes being tied by rope, like he's being wrapped up around the arms and around the legs. And the Master Scourge says, "Gather around! See what happens to thieves on my ship."
Oh, looks like we have to go and watch.
I'll go, woo! Party!
What are you doing to him?
So they tie him up, and there is a rope that is looped around, like, over the side of the ship. And they lift him up onto the railing and shove him overboard.
Holy fuck!
What are they doing?
And you see Mr. Plug has walked up, and he grabs onto an end of the rope. And he just slowly, hand over hand, starts pulling on it, but very slowly doing so. And he has this look of just, like, it's the first time he seemed, like, happy since you've seen him. And he's slowly pulling the rope. but he's pulling from the other side of the ship, and Jake's went over on the side behind him, and he's just hand over hand pulling. And
I go look.
Jake's is nowhere to be seen under the ship.
Can I jump in the water and save him?
While we're traveling.
I mean, I have 30 swim speed. I'm a water person.
True.
All right, so you're
This
gonna.
is a ship.
Are you gonna jump off the boat and try to go after him?
Yeah, because I don't know what's happening. I've never seen this before. I think that they accidentally dropped him in the water and took him out. So I want to help.
All right, so are you just blatantly jumping in, looking around, like not caring if everybody?
I want to jump where he was dropped.
Guys, he fell in!
Yeah, man overboard, legging it, jumping down head first.
All right, so you all watch as Antoinette leaps over the railing and into the water. There's actually a few surprise, like, oh, what the, as she disappears into the water beneath the ship.
I just look stunned, and I look at everyone else. I'm like, and they look stunned, and we're all like, what the fuck?
I'll say something. I'm gonna definitely write a song about her. Oppose that song about her.
All right,
So,
so
So I'm going to
Take
see
the
her
shot
jump overboard along with this other guy, and I'm not knowing that she can breathe underwater and knowing that I can. I'm also going to jump over the side and after her to try and save her.
I'm slightly paying more attention now. I'm going to try to stop you from doing that.
all right, so why don't the two of you, if you're gonna try to stop, roll me. I say roll me an initiative roll to see who reacts more quickly.
Oh,
Boy.
All right, so Holt, you see Miri go for the side of the rail and look like he's about to jump into the water. What are you doing?
I just grab him.
All right, so Miri, are you gonna try
Come on,
to?
you'll die, or they'll kill you, or something.
I'm going to
Pretty
spin.
sure we're not supposed
I'm going to
jump.
attempt to spin out of the way as I jump over the railing.
All right, so I need Holt to make an athletics check, and Miri can make either an athletics or an acrobatics check to avoid being grappled. All right, so you try to spin, and Holt just like gets a grab and hold on you, and has got you.
What the fuck are you doing?
Hey,
And I
let
start
me go!
dragging
I
him
can
back.
breathe underwater and swim. I'm gonna go save her.
She lived underwater. She just got done telling us about it.
I think she
Yeah,
has
I am.
to this.
I am definitely writing a love song about this. A three-way between Jax, Antoinette, and Miri.
All right,
All jump in the sea to save one another. It's a love story.
so Antoinette, you have a swim speed, but you're jumping in, and the ship is moving, so there's the wake of the ship moving. And also, you don't have dark vision, so you can't see too well once you get down and underneath the boat. So first thing I want you to do is to roll me an athletics check as you're fighting the current here to get down there. All right, so you're struggling with the current, and it's kind of like you're fighting with, like you're swimming, but like the ship is kind of like moving a little ways away from you. Now roll me a perception check to see if you can see what's happening down here. All right. So you can kind of make out, and what you see is that rope that they attach Jake's to. You can see him, and he is being dragged along the bottom part of the hull. And the bottom part of the hull is like all covered in like, you know, growths and stuff, and it's like sharpened, like, and it's like blunt, and you see him just bashing off it, like smacking against it. But you know, from like, he's not moving very fast, and you can see like just barely, you see like the air bubbles escaping as it looks like he is like drowning as well. So he's getting bludgeoned and he's drowning as they're just pulling him this Mr. Plug is just pulling him across the bottom of the ship.
Nothing like a good keel hauling.
Would I be able to use shape water directly on the, what is it called, directly under the boat?
The hull?
To push him off of it so he doesn't scrape across it. So I want to place it just directly on the hull to sort of push him away from it.
Yeah, you can definitely cast that to push him down so he's not scraping across it.
Mm-hmm. I want to do that. It's a cantrip. I don't need to speak for it, so yeah.
All right, so as you're getting kind of blasted back a little bit, you cast your cantrip, and you see your water, it shapes around the keel, and it kind of keeps him from bouncing off of it. Though he still seems to be struggling with breathing as he gets dragged around, and he's down there for like a little over a minute. And the rest of you are up on deck while this is happening. Antoinette has vanished underneath the water. You don't see her. Miri is in Holt's grasp as he tried to go in the water after her. And Mr. Plug, had looked back when Antoinette went in, but just keeps happily pulling slowly on this rope and dragging it. But at some point, he's dragging it, and he's kind of seems a little surprised because it's coming more easily. And I think maybe we'll stop there this week, as he's dragging this guy across the hull.
Wow. That's nice.
Some ending.
First cliffhanger.
Antoinette is in the water. Jake's magpie is being keel-hauled across the ship. And the rest of you have no idea where Antoinette ended up down there at the moment.
I might have no idea, but I have 2 weeks now to have a song written about it.
And you also
a tragedy.
You also notice Master Scourge. He's looking down there, and he's got that angry scowl back on his face, like.
He really wanted to whip Antoinette for jumping overboard, but he can't. The whip is not long enough.
All right, so we will end there for this week with our crew's first day on the ship, ending with this wonderful keel hauling of a shipmate who only one of them knew. And so we'll go around and do some outros, tell us where people can find you, things like that. And I think I'm gonna start with Kat and work my way around the other way.
Yeah, I don't really. This is the only game I play that's being streamed, so I don't have any other plugs, to be fair. But I'm looking forward to in 2 weeks to playing more and seeing if I can swim my way out the water.
Excellent. And how about Paladin Hulk?
Hi everybody, I'm Paladin Hulk. I am a Twitch moderator for Random Tuesday, Geekspace TV, and Little Red Dot, where you can catch me in the chat, hopefully, unless I'm asleep. Which, time zones. This was super fun. I can't wait to see how this motley crew does literally anything without massively screwing it up. So, excited for next episode. Should be good.
Awesome. And
at least I saved one person from jumping overboard.
It's true.
Save me.
He saved you.
You just kept me.
Totally did.
And how about you, Jenly?
Hey folks, I don't have any other game playing. So yeah, I'm also waiting for the next episode. But you can find me on Twitter and some other chat, some other game. It's been really fun.
Awesome. And Brad?
This is the only game I play online, but just to shout out to my wife of 20 years as of tomorrow.
Ooh.
Wow.
So I have to put that in there. But see my Twitch on the screen, and that's how I guess you can get hold of me, although I don't post that much.
All right. And Dylan?
Well, hi there, I'm Dylan. I have one other game that I stream online on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/PowerscoreRPG. Me and Jeanette are in Waterdeep, Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We're exploring Undermountain, Hallister's Dungeon of the Mad Mage. So, come watch that. I might have gotten knocked to half health by bugbears when last we left off. So,
What are you gonna do?
in one hit. Yeah.
Hey, at least you get one more hit out of the good bugbears.
That's true. Yeah.
And I'm Jeanette. You can find me on Power Score RPG's Dungeon of the Mad Mage, like Dylan said. You can also find me back here. I run a Call of Cthulhu game every other Monday, so not tomorrow, but the following Monday, with Dylan in it. He's playing a preacher man in the Old West, and that's at 7 o'clock Eastern here. And then on Sunday next week, I'll be on Katie Faze's channel playing some Honey Heist. We're going into our 5th of 6 sessions. So that'll be fun. And then you can find us back here in 2 weeks at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time to see, now that they've joined the crew and gotten their jobs and jumped into the water after other people, who knows what's going to happen next. But thank you guys for playing. I'm enjoying this already. And thank you everybody who came out and watched. We can't wait to come back and do some more fun adventuring on the high seas. Have a great week, and happy anniversary to Brad and his lovely wife. And take care, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.
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 And